10 wide receivers who the Detroit Lions should target in free agency.
It's LeGarrette Blount here, man, 3-time Super Bowl champion. I just want to give you a shout out to the YouTube channel, Micro Mike, man.
Eddie Murray, former Detroit Lion. Make sure you watch Micro Mike on YouTube.
Godwin Johnson Jr. here, a.k.a. Megatron. Big shout out to Micro Mike and YouTube channel, man.
Keep on talking everything Detroit Lions, and I just got to remind you, man, happy wife, happy life.
What is going on, YouTube, and welcome to Detroit Lions Talk with Micro Mike, where we talk all things Detroit Lions news, rumors, analysis, breakdown, and everything regarding our franchise. And in this video, we're going to talk about 10 wide receivers who the Detroit Lions should take a look at and target via free agency. As you know, the Detroit Lions do not have good depth right now in the wide receiver core, as only 2 wide receivers are currently on the roster. Quintez Cephas, who was drafted last year, and Geronimo Allison, who opted out of the seasons from the Green Bay Packers. When it comes to this list, we're going to have 10 wide receivers in no specific order. Don't worry about the order. And it doesn't matter if the wide receiver here is extremely good, talented number 1 wide receiver, or a number 5 receiver who would just be a depth guy. This is just no particular order, no particular skill set, because the Lions need help in multiple areas from wide receiver 1 to wide receiver 5. Let's go ahead and begin. For my number 10 wide receiver here, I'm going to do Will Fuller from the Houston Texans. Will Fuller is a very good wide receiver. He was thrusted into the number 1 role due to the trade of their number 1 wide receiver to the Arizona Cardinals. And he played in 11 games, 53 receptions, 879 yards, and 8 touchdowns. Given the fact that he was thrusted into that role, he did very good in his production. The team was bad, but when it comes to Deshaun Watson and Will Fuller, the production on offense was not that bad. They had a lot of issues regarding the head coach as he was fired. Romeo Crennel came in, and the offense lit up a little bit. Will Fuller would be a very good piece for the Detroit Lions if they're able to afford him. Marvin Jones Jr. is going to be gone in free agency as he's looking to reunite with Matthew Stafford in Los Angeles. Will Fuller would be a nice addition for the Detroit Lions. Number 9 on my list here is John Ross. Now, John Ross is definitely a depth guy here, but he's a speedy wide receiver. He only played in 3 games, 2 receptions, and 17 yards with 0 touchdowns. Yes, that the numbers look very pitiful here, but we're looking at a depth guy and a guy who can burn a little bit. John Ross is known for that. It is definitely risky due to the fact of his injury history here, as well as a whole lot of production is not much. But if you're looking at a depth guy and a guy who could possibly compete, he would be a good addition. I kind of remind me of when we got Hall last year. Came out of nowhere, did very well with the deep route, and gave a good complement wide receiver to the current core that we had at that time. I think John Ross, take a flyer on him. Why not? Comment on the video. What wide receiver do you want? Generally, it doesn't have to be a number 1 guy. It could be a complement piece as well. But I'm curious to see what the fan base thinks. What wide receiver do you covet? We need quite a bit. Is there somebody on this list you like? If there's not somebody on the list, leave me a name. Let's get the conversation going. The number 8 wide receiver on my list here is Josh Reynolds. He is 16 games for 52 receptions, 618 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Obviously, the connection here to Brad Holmes. He was underused, in my opinion, in Los Angeles. I don't think he's going to command big-time money here from the Detroit Lions. The Lions need help at this position. He could be a number 3 wide receiver for the Detroit Lions, and I think he would be a good piece for Jared Goff. He already knows him. They're familiar with the system. They're familiar with each other. I think it would not be a bad idea to take a flyer on Josh Reynolds for the Lions. Number 7 wide receiver on my list is Sammy Watkins. Now, he played in 10 games. He had 37 receptions, 421 yards, and 2 touchdowns. When it comes to Sammy Watkins, there is an injury history here, but I don't think that the price for Sammy Watkins is going to be that much, and he still does have that ability to really break out in the game. Now, he's shown flashes sometimes, but he's also shown flashes and not being a good wide receiver in some games. He's played with the Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs. He was surrounded by a lot of weapons there. Maybe he was underutilized in some portions. Why not take a flyer on him if the price is right? Yes, we're going back to Detroit to go ahead and look at Mohamed Sanu. He only played in 10 games, 17 receptions, 187 yards, and 1 touchdown. The stats don't break out, but if you're a Detroit Lions fan, you've seen him play this year, and given that he would take a veteran minimum deal, I see no problem with the Lions re-signing this guy. He did decent, giving the chances on the field. He won't cost that much. He'll be very cheap. He's already in Detroit. It seems like if they are hurting for wide receiver, this would be an easy one to snatch up. Help Jared Goff out. We need to have somebody on the field. Sanu did well with the minimum time that he was in Detroit. Might as well try another one-year deal with this guy. We talk about underutilized. We talk about unknowns. Pharaoh Cooper could be one as well. Now, he played in 16 games, but he only had 5 receptions, 73 yards, and 0 touchdowns. When it comes to Pharaoh Cooper, this would be a depth guy trying to compete here to make the roster. Maybe he can break out, maybe not, but this would be extremely cheap. We need to have competition at the wide receiver. This would be a guy that you can take a flyer on. Again, a lot of flyers here when it comes to these depth guys, but why not? You got to have somebody on the field. And Pharaoh Cooper, he's shown that he can make plays at some point, but he was underutilized. Throw him on the roster, see if he can do anything in the preseason. If he can, great. If he can't, cut him. Folks, let's go ahead and get those likes up. Let's get to 400 likes in this video. That would be awesome. The more likes you get, the more chance that the video gets out via YouTube algorithm. When you're spending all this time making Detroit Lions content, it's nice to see those likes get up. And again, the folks of Chat Sports, they are on me to get these likes past 400 every single video, it seems like. So let's go ahead and help me out and get that done. Yes, I got Kenny Golladay on this list. Now, I made a video where I previously did not believe he's going to be on the team, and that definitely still looks like it could possibly be. If you heard the rumors, the Detroit Lions offered him $16 million a year, and he turned it down. The reason I would say he could possibly be on this list, they may franchise tag him, but if you don't know, he played in 5 games, 20 receptions, 338 yards, and 2 touchdowns. We drafted this guy. Maybe we can go ahead and franchise tag him if he doesn't want a deal. Jared Goff needs help. Kenny Golladay was drafted by the Lions. Try him for 1 year, and guess what? If it doesn't work out, trade him for the trade deadline. But Kenny Golladay has that well-known catchable radius. He catches contested catches. He's good deep threat. Kenny Golladay is a good piece. Another question mark is obviously his injuries. Can he get back on the field and be full strength? People question if he was really injured or if he was kind of milking it. I still believe he was really injured. But again, you got to have somebody. Maybe they go ahead and franchise tag him, use him. If not, just go ahead and trade him via franchise tag before the trade deadline. Number 3 wide receiver on my list is Demarcus Robinson. He is the wide receiver from the Kansas City Chiefs. He played in 16 games, 45 receptions, 446 yards, and 3 touchdowns. You can't go wrong getting wide receivers from the Kansas City Chiefs as they are a dominant offense. Again, I think this guy is underutilized, and I think he'd be a good piece for the Detroit Lions. He's speedy, and I think he'd do well in the slot as well. Probably be a good number 2 for the Detroit Lions. He's not going to cost top dollar, but he can bring very good production to the Lions. Match him up with Jared Goff. I think that would be a good idea for the Detroit Lions front office to get help on this offense and get it going so it's not a complete dumpster fire on the field. One of my favorite free agent wide receivers is Corey Davis. Now, he played in 14 games, 65 receptions, 984 yards, and 5 touchdowns. What I like about Corey Davis is he's a big, strong wide receiver. I always like the more physical, the bigger guys, and that's what he is. The issue here is he's going to cost a pretty penny for the Detroit Lions. But again, the Lions tried to sign Kenny Golladay for a $16 million deal. That means they're willing to spend the money. So if they don't want to franchise tag Kenny Golladay, why not take some of this money and try to acquire Corey Davis? He would be a physical threat on the field. The Lions are trying to become a physical football team. There's nothing better than having a physical wide receiver out there. Plus, if you're trying to run the football, he'd be a good guy to block as a wide receiver as well. Number 1 on my list is Allen Robinson. 16 games, 102 receptions, 1,250 yards, and 6 touchdowns. This would be an addition by subtraction because addition from adding a wide receiver from the Chicago Bears, and it subtracts from their weapons on the field. Allen Robinson is a very good wide receiver, one of the best in the NFL, and if you can snatch him again from the Chicago Bears, you're hurting their team and you're helping our team. He's always shown quality production. He's always an individual who's going to be on the field and play hard. Jared Goff to Robinson would be a very good combination. If you can't get Corey Davis, if you can't get Kenny Golladay, he would be a great number 1 wide receiver for our football team. Him, TJ Hockenson, that would be very, very special to watch on Sundays. Folks, in the upcoming videos, we got the One Pride podcast on my channel at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Make sure you are there. The live mailbag segment. So if you got questions, we have answers. All you got to do is pop in, throw in some questions, and we will go back and forth with you. It's one fun time. Also, on Tuesday, it's Spiked Kool-Aid hosted by the Gridiron Blitz at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. It is a very fun, a more hot show, a more raw and in-your-face type of show. We go back and forth, and they take phone calls. I'm on there quite a bit. Make sure you join. That's a fun time. And on Wednesday, we have Necessary Roughness with Troxel Sports Talk. It's a humorous comedy show. We talk all football. Make sure you're there. Let's have some fun.